This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 55 of Healthy Critters Radio on the Horse Radio Network. Healthy Critters Radio is brought to you by Biostar US. Find them online at biostarus.com.
On today's show, we learn how to correctly fit Snaffle bits. The breed of the show is a lionhead bunny. Critter Nutrition focuses on Trashology 101. And in Coffee Clatch, we discuss what to have in our canine first aid kit. Listen in.
So, ladies, I have been tasked with creating and leading the chit chat for today's show. Which longtime listeners at the Horse Radio Network will know is not my strong suit. So here goes.
Okay.
Dun,
I'm ready.
Dun,
Dun, dun, dun, dun.
I feel like I need to sit down for this.
Well, one of the things I like to do when I have to be the leader of the chit chat is get everybody else to do the chit chatting. So,
yeah, of course.
As we record Healthy Critters Radio episode 55, Tigger is hanging around in Welly World, Wellington, Florida. Are you not?
I am.
Patty P, on the other hand, is hanging around at home in Texas. Are you not?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So, Patty P, whenever you do not go to Welly World,
yes,
do you feel like you're a little bit disconnected from the rest of the dressage world, or do you feel like, ha, I got to stay home?
Oh, God, no, I love Wellington. I know that just made, I guarantee you that Tigger just rolled her eyes, and she probably died a little.
I heard her eyes roll.
The reason I love it is because it's I've done it my whole life, and it's something I'm so used to getting after Christmas, packing up and getting excited about going. It's always been such a wonderful thing for me because I was normally coming from a cold state and got to get, be warm, but also that it's when I get my training and I can get better. And so, and I love, and I can't do it for long periods of time. So I say like generally 3 months. When I was down there for almost 6 months out of the year, that got a little hard, but I love being able to go out to dinner and see people that and have common interests, and go into the grocery store and see people in breeches. I mean, I love, like, that's just fun for me. It's not a place that I would want to live year round just because of the climate. And I'm kind of over hurricanes, but no, I miss it terribly. Absolutely terribly.
Okay. So next we're moving over to Tigger. You are in Wellington, Florida.
Yep.
Which you do every winter.
Yep.
And you do that. Why is it important for Tigger to be in Wellington every winter?
We have a lot of Biostar clients here, and it's a very stressful environment for the horses, because they're basically showing, fairly often, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. The humans are under a lot of stress, and the horses pick up on that. So I'm needed to, tweak a diet, or, recommend a different supplement, or deal with a different issue that the horses had. So that's why it's important to be down here, because I can, be at somebody's barn and, within a day, sometimes just a few hours, if it's something really urgent. So I feel that's my responsibility.
As the big cheese at Biostar US?
Well, not as so much as the big cheese, because I'm lugging product. I'm schlepping.
Well, you're the big cheese, but you're also the chief cook, bottle washer, and floor sweeper, and formulator, and
pretty
scientist,
much.
And
Yeah, I'm not being driven around in my limousine, and I don't have little minions carrying in orders to barns, and I'm sort of doing it myself. And what I always find funny is when I'm lugging the biggest orders into a barn, the working students are standing there watching me, and they're in their 20s, and I'm
Yeah.
65. Do you think they say, "Hey, can we help you with this?" Nah.
Well, Tigger, I was going to say what that's called, what you're doing. You know what that's called?
Customer service.
It's called customer service. Yep.
Yeah.
Customer service.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yep.
And there we have it. I got you
There
guys
we
to do
have
all the
it.
chatting.
You nasty thing. That was well done. Well, she's tickled with herself.
I am. I'm
But
very
that was
proud of
good.
myself.
Yeah, well done. Well done.
Well, that was so much fun. Why don't we bring Beth on and chat about Snaffle
yes.
bits?
It's
Great
time
idea.
to talk about bits.
Indeed.
And we're here with Beth Haste from The Horse, of course, in Claremore, Oklahoma, and Wellington, Florida. Welcome, Beth.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Hi, Beth. How are you?
Hi, Patty. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, good to be heard from.
So we wanted to have Beth on Healthy Critters because fitting bits is one of her specialties.
Yes, indeedy.
And we want to start with a very basic bit, which is the Snaffle bit. And I've got some key questions for Beth, who is the master of bit fitting. So to start with, Beth, what are the differences among breeds of horse in regards to the palate? So the difference between thoroughbreds, quarter horses, Arabs, warm bloods, and Spanish horses.
That's an interesting question. I have
Thanks.
found that the modern sport horse, whether it be a quarter horse or a Spanish horse or a warm blood, all seem to have pretty flat palates, a big fat tongue, tiny jawbones, and the tongue oozes out between the teeth. And pretty fleshy lips. The thoroughbred still has fleshy lips, but could have a little more concave to the palate.
And how about the Arab?
I found that the Arabs are, again, I don't know whether it's with the breeding or what, but we seem to also have that more modern sport horse type of mouth.
It's interesting.
So
Yeah.
how
I
does
was really
the palate
surprised.
how does the palate fit in with bit fitting?
Well, the palate is the strongest form of control on the horse's head. So if you invoke the palate with the bits, that is going to be the strongest form of control. And there are some bits that will do that, mostly curb bits, not so much in snaffle bits. But you have to remember that when they have a flat palate like that and a big fat tongue, they don't have a lot of room in their mouth to put bits in.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So is it with a snaffle, would it make more sense to have a thinner snaffle than a thicker snaffle with the modern sport horse mouth?
I have found that to be true. I have found that those big old fat bits that we used years ago
Yeah.
really, we used to think, well, it protects the horse's mouth, but in fact, it's really not that great, and they don't really have the room for it. And I really want them to close their mouth and be quiet.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're fitting a bit, what are you looking for to make sure it is the right fit for that horse?
Well, I think the first thing, anytime you're thinking about what bit should I put in this horse's mouth, you have to think that a bit is composed of two pieces. It is composed with a cheek piece that works in a certain way and a mouthpiece that works in a certain way. So first you have to determine what kind of a cheek piece you want. For example, an egg butt, a D-ring, a Biostar, a full cheek. These are all fixed-cheeked bits, and they're a lot quieter than, let's say, a loose ring. So depending upon how the horse reacts is the cheek piece you start with.
And also the rider's
And then you
hands
go to the
too, right?
mouthpiece. The rider's hands are always involved.
Yeah.
But if you don't have such great hands, that's another reason why you pick a fixed cheek bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Because that egg butt is going to lessen the information that goes down the rein.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing is that loose rings were always considered dressage bits. And dressage doesn't really start till third level. So we really shouldn't be looking to use a loose ring until that time because it's way too much information for the horse.
That's a really good point. It's a very good point. And I'll tell you from my own experience, because Beth, you've told me this before, and and I have put all of my younger horses in a fixed bit, whether it's a full cheek or a D, or I love egg butts. Right. And I feel like it makes a major difference when you're teaching the horse about contact, because as we all know, some horses will take more contact, some horses don't. And if, like you said, the information is so overwhelming to the horse, they get to hear the the aids that you want to be clear a little more efficiently with these, fixed bits. There's a big
find
help.
with like the fixed bits is because on a young horse, all you're asking that horse to do is just take that contact and just stay there.
Right.
You're not asking that horse to do anything more than that, and now just move forward. And
right.
So it lessens what they have to try to figure out because they can't figure out a lot. But if you take that thought in mind, and we talked about, hands, if you have an experienced horse, a more experienced horse than the rider, you also want to put them in a fixed cheek because you don't want the rider's inexperienced hands to upset the schooled horse.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
So you've got a couple of things: inexperienced riders with schooled horses, inexperienced horses.
Mm-hmm.
It just lessens all that information because a loose ring is like you're screaming in the horse's ear.
Right.
It
Okay,
vibrates.
so
Every movement of your hand vibrates that rein down to the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, so say you decide you've got a young horse, you're going to go with a fixed ring like an egg butt. What's the next consideration in fitting the horse?
Well, my consideration is that almost every horse that I come into contact with takes a really small bit because if you feel their jaw bones underneath their mouth, they're only about maybe 2 inches to 2.5 inches wide. That's the bars that the bit sits on. So all we're dealing with is lips. And you don't want that bit to move too much side to side in the horse's mouth. It's very disconcerting. So I find that most of the horses end up taking like in a fixed cheek bit, like an egg butt, a 4 3/4 inch bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's solid and it's stable. Now, because it's not pulling through the horse's mouth, you can then put in a nice, soft 3-piece bit. I prefer ones with a little bean in the middle. And if it's not pulling, because if it's a loose ring or it's a bit that's too big, it moves side to side in the horse's mouth, and those joints will then move across the bars back and forth, which is very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But the 3-piece is soft as long as it fits solidly in the horse's mouth. If it doesn't fit solidly, then I would want a 2-piece bit because I don't want that joint to be moving back and forth across those bars.
When you're saying the joint, are you talking about because I was going to ask you specifically about you like something in the middle, whether it's the little bean or whatever. How do you decide what shape that you like to that?
Well, I personally, and I don't like to I don't work for a bit company.
Right.
But I do like consistency, and I want the bit to be consistent every single time. So I usually choose either a Hermspringer brand or a Neue Schule brand because they're consistent every single time. If I want to get a size bit, the dimensions and the engineering are consistent.
Okay. I was going to ask what you meant by consistent. Okay.
Yes. And sometimes with the stainless steel bits, you don't even know what you're getting. You order a French link, and it doesn't look anything like a French link.
Right.
So the engineering is all off. And I don't think that they are paying attention to what the original engineering on these bits were to make them work correctly.
So you're definitely from the mindset, and stop me if I'm putting words in your mouth, but it's definitely worth spending the extra money for the Aram Springer or the Newell Shula bits, because they're consistent and the quality of them is going to be, more like
exactly.
Because I know that on the
two other reasons too.
Okay. Let her rip.
Besides the consistent quality and the engineering is correct every single time, you need a bit that's 70% copper or more to warm to the temperature of a horse's mouth.
Okay.
So stainless steel always remains cold in the horse's mouth, and we're looking for relaxation.
Oh, that's a very good point.
So I want to do as much as I can to have that horse's mouth relaxed. It's an athlete. You can't run 5 miles with a dry mouth.
Right.
And the horse can't work with a dry mouth. So I want that mouth to be quiet, relaxed, foaming, happy.
Right. So I have a question, Tigger, if this isn't on one of your lists, because I know that one of the biggest things when Beth has fitted my bits, and I'm so sure you've gone through this too, I'd always say, really, that small? I mean, because of course everybody is, it's like, come on, you did one for Stu years ago, which I still use,
right?
And it's a 4 3/4, and I'm like, Beth, so okay, you know this, Beth, right? And I mean, I sat there and questioned you, and which, by the way, listeners, she was 1,000% correct. How I know that there's measuring devices that people can do that, but what you had told me is to look at the lines, the jaw lines underneath, which being a trainer is a little bit easier for me because I'm looking at that all day long, and that's been a good guide for me. What would be your suggestion for people getting the proper size and how to figure that out?
To be honest with you, most horses, and I'm talking 14-2, 16-2, 17-2, all have these little tiny jawbones.
Yeah, it's shocking to me. Yeah,
all take a 4 3/4 in a fixed bit. Now, other than that, if you're going to get a loose ring, I find that the average horse takes between a 5 1/4 and a 5 1/2 at the most. There's going to be an oddball around that's got such a huge top lip that you still have to clear because you don't want to pinch it. But when you lay the ring flat on one side of the horse and pull the bit on the other side, you don't want to see 1.5 inches pulling out of the horse's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at it, you should look at it in the on position. In other words, pick the reins up and move it up into the horse's mouth like it was on contact.
That's good advice.
Now you want to see that the lip is just inside the hole that the ring goes through.
Okay.
So that's your rule of thumb on what to do in a loose ring. And the other ones, I haven't really met many horses that took it bigger in a fixed cheek than a 4 3/4.
That's
amazing.
Shocking.
It's shocking because you know how hard it is to get a 4 3/4 egg butt snaffle?
Yes, I do.
Impossible.
Yes, I do.
So I usually put a lot of Bradoons in, and I don't care what the ring size is. There's no legality on the ring size.
Right.
So I put in what fits.
Mm.
And I'll tell you, it's like a little miracle. All of a sudden, the horse goes so much better.
Cool. So, Tig, what other questions do you have? Because you have good questions.
They've all been answered.
My goodness.
I just want to tell our listeners that if you want more information on bits from Beth, you can contact the horse, of course, online. We'll have it in the show notes. And she's in Wellington all winter and New York in the summer. And if you are out in Texas or Oklahoma or in the Midwest, she has a store in Claremore. So you can call and get her advice and her staff's advice on buying the right bit. So Beth, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so important because I feel like I work for the horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so many horses are not bitted correctly, so this is a really big issue.
Yeah, we have to do this again when fitting a double. So
yeah,
I think people will love that.
That'll be part 2.
Part 2.
Okay.
Perfect.
Sounds
Thanks,
great.
Beth. Thank you.
Thanks,
right.
Beth.
Hello,
Hetty.
Patty and Tickle, or Togger as I sometimes call her, and Jennifer.
I'm here too. Hi, Hetty. How are you?
How lovely to hear from you all. It has been too long since last we spoke.
It's true. It's true.
This isn't an issue, a problem, I think, in our relationship. We should really try to get together more.
Okay. Let's mark that on our New Year's resolution list.
But we can't because we're busy and important.
Well, you are.
Yeah.
I am not worthy.
Well, true.
So what's up, Hetty?
Well, I wanted to interview my sister this week, but she refused to do it. So I'm going to work on that for our next show.
Okay.
She said you're not, anyway, we can't do that today. So instead, I thought maybe I would sing you a little song.
Oh, excellent.
I cannot wait to
Yes,
hear this.
I know how you enjoy my singing.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Isn't it rich? Aren't we Gruyere? Finally knowing the cheese that I wanted was brie. But send in the cheddar. There ought to be cheese.
Very good, Hetty.
Did anyone have any further questions? I can go on, but I know you have a shorter attention span than some.
My face hurts from laughing.
To alert
This is
about
a good sign.
Yes.
a Pomeranian.
I'm sorry, what now?
Didn't you want to share about a Pomeranian who needs help?
Oh, thank you so much for the reminder. There is a small dog, a Pomeranian male black suit wearer, and he is not having a good time of it. He was picked up by our friend Ellen's rescue group. They do traditionally Cocker Spaniels, but apparently they had a moment of genius and realized, why would you save those when you could save Pomeranians? And so they walked out and right away found a Pomeranian that needed a home. So if you wanted to know more about my little friend, because we are not allowed to have another Pomeranian because our servant is stupid, you could contact me on my Facebook page and I could give you information about this little dog who's a good dog. He likes cats, which is fine. I like cats too. And he likes other dogs. And he likes to walk on a leash or not on a leash. And he's very nice with people.
Okay,
He's basically a saint.
Sounds like it. Hetty, is there pictures on your Facebook page of your friend?
Well, there will be very soon. We're just waiting for some nice ones to come from his foster family.
Okay, because that would be great.
He's located in New York. You know.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
So
that's a good message.
It's a very good rescue group, and they would be very happy to help adopt him out to any suitable adopter.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's good.
So we're looking for good servants.
opinions about Pomeranians poison you. The man is mad. He runs mad. You can't talk to Glenn sometimes. He's just like that.
That's sort of what everybody says.
I'm gonna let y'all. I'm gonna let you guys all into a little secret that Glenn doesn't like to talk about.
Oh.
Okay.
He used to have a Peekapom.
Oh
No.
no.
That's why he's all like hostile to short dog.
Yeah, he used to have one, and it was his dog. The dog didn't want to have anything to do with me. It would growl if I sat down next to him while the dog was on his lap.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, Shaky Jake was his little
Shaky Jake.
Shaky Jake. Yes. So next
But he
time,
claims that this ruined him.
yes, next time you chat with him, just ask him about his Peekapom, Shaky Jake.
Yeah, we got to remember
I will.
that. Yeah, I bet you will.
That's the dog that ate the woodwork off of our doorways in our home.
Holy
Yeah.
noted.
Yes.
I'm pulling up a chair for that conversation, if you know what I mean.
Me too. So if you want to know more about this Pomeranian that needs a new servant, please go to the Ask Hedwig Facebook page. And thanks, Hetty.
Correct.
Thanks, Hetty.
You're
That was
welcome.
good.
Always
Lovely
so
song,
nice
dear.
to speak with you.
Thank you
It was
very much,
so
Hetty.
nice.
You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
And now it's time for the breed of the show.
So we're now at the breed of the show segment of our program, and we are going to stay on the topic of rabbits. And, whenever I'm doing my investigation, I always look for the cutest and the fluffiest. And well, by golly, I found it, Tigger. There's this is a rabbit I guarantee you we're going to want to have, and it's called the lionhead rabbit. And I don't know if you've looked up any pictures of them, but they're pretty fluffy and cute. They were created by doing a cross of two dwarf breeds, and it was kind of a bit of a mistake because a gene mutation happened that consistently produced a line of wool around their head, hence the name lionhead. And they're incredibly adorable, but the fluff around their head, they call it a mane of wool, actually forms a V. And some of the lighter color ones, like that, there's like an apricot, and there's of course tons of colors, which is fun. You can't really see it, but on the darker colored ones, like the lilacs and the blues, you can really see it. And it's just this very distinct V. They have a great personality. They're very friendly. They're very well mannered. They have a decent lifespan. They live, 8 to 10 years. They're a relatively new breed in the U.S. They've been around, I think, since 1988 here, but I guess in breeding rabbits, that's kind of new. So I'm told from my rabbit experts. They're very similar looking to a dwarf, but of course the mane is what distincts them from the difference between the two. They weigh about anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 pounds, so they're tiny. Which then, of course, which is great if you're looking for something like.
It would be a perfect bunny for Hedwig.
Oh my goodness!
Have her own bunny.
Can you imagine? We could get her one in the same color. That'd probably make her so angry. I think we've got a Christmas idea coming up here. I don't know if her servant would like the idea, but that's not a bad idea. Which brings up a good point, Tigger, that when well socialized, they're fine around other animals. They, as far as care, they're typical, like we've discussed with other rabbit breeds. It's very important how you feed them because their teeth will grow. They'll grow and become an issue if you don't give them the proper type of forage, different types of pellets and Timothy hay. And actually, lionhead. I think it's lionheadrabbit.com. If you're interested in this breed, is a really great place to go. Very easy to navigate through. It tells you all about lionheads, a little bit of the history and how to care. Breeders, the breeders that are around and ones that are for sale. Because of their coat and because of their wool, they're a little bit more. They need more care than the average rabbit because it's obviously better if you do a little grooming with them, which of course they'll like that because they're very social and they like to be affectionate. And, last but not least, they have tons of colors. Fawn, black,
That's the
sable.
best part.
I know,
That's
because
the
you
most
can just,
important part.
oh my gosh. And I don't know if you guys have looked them up, but there are some have little white spots on their nose. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm a little concerned about my infatuation. This, I don't know. I mean, they're so cute. There's a chocolate. I mean, who wouldn't want a chocolate, a blue, and a ruby-eyed white? So there you go, lion head rabbit. I think that Tigger, this may be something we have to
This
look
may
into.
be our new
Just
buddy.
saying. Yep, just saying. So we got to put that right now is check that box as number 1.
Okay.
So.
So here we are at Critter Nutrition, and I'm going to veer off a little bit of Critter Nutrition and bring you up to date on my newest course of study, which I'm calling Trashology 101. I am learning about garbage and also Garbology 101, but I think Trashology has a better ring to it.
I like it too. I agree.
Thank you. What is surprising in 2018 is that although recycling is done by many homeowners and apartment dwellers, this is not the case in a lot of public spaces, gas and convenience stations, grocery stores, dog parks, horse shows, convention centers, hotels, fast food restaurants, small and large companies, airports, shopping malls, and the big box stores. The U.S. is the number 1 trash producing country in the world at 1,609 pounds per person per year. I decided to take a look at the decomposition of different materials. For instance, how long does it take a thread-worn pair of cotton Levi's with holes in the knees to break down in the landfill? The answer is 3 to 6 months. But those same pair of Levi's with spandex in them will degrade in a few months, except for the spandex, which will not degrade for 40 years. Different materials biodegrade at different rates. Biodegradation needs microorganisms and light, water, and oxygen. Temperature is another important factor because microorganisms reproduce faster in warmer conditions. Landfills lack light, water, and bacterial activity required for the decomposition process. If we throw table scraps into the garbage, which then end up in the landfill, those table scraps will biodegrade much more slowly and not always completely because of the lack of microbes. That is one reason you can find old newspapers 50 years old in landfills, where if the paper was composted in soil, it would break down in 2 to 5 months. In the book Rubbish, The Archaeology of Garbage by William J. Rathje and Cullen Murphy, the authors outline the misconceptions about landfills and decompositions. There is a popular notion that in its depths, the typical municipal landfill is a locus of roiling fermentation, of intense chemical and biological activity. The truth is, however, that the dynamics of a modern landfill are very nearly the opposite of what most people think. Biologically and chemically, a landfill is a much more static structure than is commonly supposed. An apple core, if thrown on the ground, decomposed in 3 to 9 days on average. That same apple core, if in the landfill, can take 2 months or more. How long does garbage last in a landfill? Aluminum, 200 plus years. Batteries, 100 years. Fishing net, nylon, 40 years. Fishing lines, 600 years. Tires, 2,000 years. Plastic milk jug, 500 years. Milk carton, 5 years. Disposable diapers, 450 years. Sanitary pads, 500 to 800 years. Foamed plastic cups, 50 years. Rubber boot or rubber soles, 50 to 80 years. Leather, 50 years. Nylon fabric, 30 to 40 years. Flip-flop shoes, 1,000 years. Wool clothing, 1 to 5 years. Plastic bottles, 450 years. Styrofoam, never. Tin foil, never. Plastic straws, 200 years. Cardboard, 2 months. Plastic beverage container, 500 years. Soda can, 50 years. Hairspray bottle, 200 to 500 years. Glass bottle, over 1 million years. The good news is that, of course, glass being made of silica is actually, it's slow to break down, but, you know, you can make nice jewelry out of it. It's not plastic. Plastic shopping bags, if exposed to sunlight, it can take 10 years. If not exposed to sunlight, 100 years. Americans use over 2 million plastic bottles every hour, and most are not recycled. Over 80 billion aluminum soda cans are consumed by Americans every year. Over 25 billion styrofoam cups are thrown away in the U.S. yearly. To produce Sunday newspapers across the country takes 500,000 trees. As a nation, yearly we discard 16 billion diapers, 1.6 billion pens, 1 billion razor blades, 220 million car tires, and enough aluminum to rebuild the U.S. commercial air fleet 4 times over. Worldwide, more than 1 million plastic bags are used every minute. In the last 10 years, we have produced more plastic than during the whole of the 20th century. We don't really need to use all these flimsy plastic bags. We really don't need to drink water out of plastic bottles or drink milk out of plastic milk jugs. We can recycle clothing. We can compost cotton and other natural fibers. Wax paper is a good alternative to plastic wrap and can be composted, although it takes time to break down. We have become so accustomed to throwing things away that it has become a habit. I can't tell you how many Hershey Kisses aluminum wrappings I've tossed without thinking into the trash. Based on my love of Hershey's Kisses, I've sent a lot of aluminum to the landfill. All we have to do is identify one wasteful habit and take the steps to form a new routine. I'm not going to stop eating Hershey's Kisses, but those little silver wrappings are headed for the recycling bin.
Real horses and real dogs are healthier, perform better, and recover more quickly on real food. That's why Biostar empowers horse and canine owners with 100% whole food nutrition, supplements, and feeding programs. Biostar products are made at their own certified non-GMO facility in Gordonsville, Virginia, using real fruit ingredients that are raw, freeze-dried, or dehydrated, never cooked, and are free from artificial flavors, colors, soy, corn, wheat, and molasses. The Biostar product line includes a wide range of whole food, horse and dog supplements, treats, and unique artisan poultices that embrace the ancient and traditional uses of clay and plants. Visit biostarus.com today and learn about whole foods and canine and equine nutrition so you can make the best decisions about the care and health of your horses and dogs. That's biostarus.com. Whole food nutrition the way nature intended.
We're now at Coffee Clatch, and we're going to talk about canine first aid, what our must-haves in our medicine cabinet for dogs is. So I'm going to start off. One of the most important things I have in my medicine cabinet for the dogs is Bach flower rescue remedy.
Oh.
Because when they're stressed or upset, this liquid, you can put a few drops on their tongue, you can put it in their mouth, and it immediately goes to work within minutes of calming them and de-stressing them. And if they're injured or anything, it's really helpful to reduce the stress and anxiety.
Oh, that's a good one. So,
Hi.
so I've got a question because I would like to add this to my list then.
Okay.
What about Theracom? Because like when you said that, I was
It
like,
takes longer because they have to eat it.
okay, and you've got to get them to eat it. Okay, but let's just say Theracom.
Absolutely.
That's
If you
also
have-
a good. Okay.
Yeah, but this is quick, because it's a liquid. You just have a drop. It comes with a dropper bottle, and you put a few drops on their tongue.
Oh yeah, I think I've used that actually for horses before.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Jennifer, do you have anything?
I do.
What do you have?
What do I have? Besides Theracom from Biostar, thank you for taking that one.
Sorry, I was kidding. Jennifer, what do you think about Theracom?
Which is great stuff. And in conjunction with our Theracom, we're always sure to have Glory's Thunder shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she makes good use of her Thunder shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It just
Good
gives her a
thinking.
hug, and she goes and hides in her house, and she's just happy.
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart. Well, I have a couple of ones.
I
Pardon
thought
me?
we were going around in a circle.
I was kidding. I just have one, and then I'll have another one after that. No, I'm kidding. We're going around in circles. One thing that I always have, of course, always needing to know how to do the dosage, because I've had too many dogs that have been stung by bees, is I always have Benadryl for quick reacting.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, Hannah had a Shiba Inu that thought it was really a great idea to stick her head in plenty places where it shouldn't have been, and her face would swell enough that it would close off her nasal passages, and her throat started to swell, so it scared the tar out of me. Yeah, so and she just got stung, but so I always have just baby Benadryl around for that.
Baby Benadryl.
Yeah,
Okay.
excuse me. You can do the liquid, which is baby Benadryl, or you can do the tablets. Sorry, I was thinking
Aspirin.
smaller animal. Yeah. Yes, I was thinking aspirin.
Well, the second thing I have in my medicine cabinet for the dogs is triple antibiotic ointment.
Damn it, that was one of mine. Me too. Okay, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah, that's useful for all sorts of things: human,
Yeah, it
horse,
is.
and canine.
Yes, absolutely.
How about you, Jennifer?
Another thing that I keep around for Glory is stypic powder.
What's that?
Or blood
Oh,
stop powder.
stop bleeding.
Yeah.
Useful for toenails that get cut too short, but also useful for dogs who crash into things and cut themselves.
While in their thunder shirts.
And their thunder shirts.
Eating
Okay.
Theracom.
Eating Theracom. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, well, another one that I did have triple antibiotic, but I always have coconut oil on, because how many uses are there for coconut oil?
There's so many uses for coconut oil.
Well, Tigger and I are going to write a book.
1,001 uses for coconut oil.
Yeah,
That's right.
Tigger and I are writing a book, and all it's going to be is all of the uses, and then we're going to list them, and then have a picture of us laughing. That's always a good one. If you get a minor cut, or if there's sometimes they get some scaly stuff or an
dry
itchy
spots,
spot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And can always put it in their food. And apparently, now my husband gargles with it because it's supposed to be the best thing in the world for your teeth. You can even make your dogs gargle with it.
Ooh, I'm not sure about that one.
So it actually does an amazing job. Are we around you, Tig, right?
Yeah. Tromera poultice. This is a Biostar poultice. It's for, wounds and strains, and it's all pre-mixed. It's in a nice little jar, and I'm a big fan of clays for drawing out soreness, and it's so easy to apply. It's just made up. You slap it on, put a little vet wrap, you're good to go.
Oh, cool. Okay,
And
that's a
vet
good
wrap
one.
is also really good to have.
Yep. You just added that, didn't you?
No, it's in my list.
I was going to say it because you stole my Neosporin one. So when it comes back to me, I'm saying vet wrap. Jennifer, do you have something else?
Well, if you're going to say vet wrap, I guess I can't.
No, you can say it. You can say it.
Vet wrap.
You go ahead.
But to go
Okay,
along
good.
with the vet wrap, again, because Glory is prone to damaging her long, slim limbs, I always have handy an old sock, and not your guy's tube sock. You need a nice, heavy-duty, ladies' tall sock, because you can chop the toe off, and you can use it for paws and legs and elbows.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Very, very
And that's
useful.
good also to put over a poultice.
Yes.
Yep.
Very handy.
I always have, for more severe things, hydrogen peroxide and a little alcohol.
Yep.
Hydrogen peroxide is
Betadine.
nice. Yep, just because it just bubbles things out.
Yeah.
That's always a good thing. And of course,
4x4s.
oh yeah, 4x4s. Yeah,
That-
it's
yeah.
funny.
And I
same-
love having aloe gel. That is
That's
the
another
most
good one. Yeah,
handy thing if you don't have the plant nearby.
yeah, that's a good one. These are all good suggestions.
Yeah.
Jennifer?
I have one more on my list that hasn't been covered yet, because some dogs are prone to garbage cans and too much cheese.
Mm.
I always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ah,
Wow.
okay, that's a good one.
That's for me when the dog gets sick.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one. I don't have any more Tigger because you took my Neosporin.
Oh, there's one other thing I have. There's one other thing I
Oh.
have. I keep Vetericin eye wash around.
Oh,
Oh.
that's a good one.
Because when outdoor dogs are all the time getting stuff in their eyeballs. There's seeds and burrs and crap, and so I always keep that around. And I use the Vetterson eye wash versus the old-fashioned Farnham, or somebody makes the eye wash that you buy at the tack shop.
Right.
I like the Vetterson because it comes in a really fine mist spray, so it's actually easier to get into their little eyeballs, I think.
Cool.
That's just a personal thing. But that pretty much is my kit.
That's a good kit.
It's an excellent kit. The only thing I have to add that I didn't talk about is I do have comfrey ointment.
What is it called?
Comfrey.
Not heard of that.
That's an herb, isn't it? Comfrey? Yeah.
Yep. It's a plant, and it's really good for strains, sprains, when you have Australian Shepherds that, are pretty active and they zigged when they should have zagged, and they're not really hurt, but you just want to support a ligament or a toe or a hip. It's great.
That's probably a good thing for me to have.
Yes.
Well, good lists, guys. It sounds like we're giving people some great information to make their own home kit.
And if there's anything we didn't mention that you have, please let us know and go to Healthy Critters Radio on Facebook or on our website, healthycrittersradio.com.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks to our sponsor, Biostar US. You can find them online at biostarus.com.
Get the Horse Radio Network phone app on iOS or Android by searching for Horse Radio Network in the App Store. It's free and easy to use.
For details about today's show, go to healthycrittersradio.com, where you can find links, photos, and more information about our guests.
As always, we love your feedback. Please follow us on Facebook under Healthy Critters Radio.
Be sure to visit all the great shows on Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com.
Love your dog.
Hug your horse.
Feed your chickens.
Clean your litter box.
Dance with your goat.
Slither with your snakes.
Howl at the moon.
Hang with your hamster.
Party with your parrot.
Waddle with your walrus.
Outwit your otter.
Cuddle your cows.
Rap with your raptor.
Go chipping with your chipmunks.
Forgive your fox.
While hedging your hog.
We also recommend that you rack with your raccoon.
Gyrate with your giraffe.
Meditate with a meerkat.
Uber with your orangutan.
Facebook with your flamingo.
Ponder with your panda.
Walk with your Wookiee.
Yawn with your yak.
Twitter with your toucan.
Go raining with your reindeer.
Dropbox your dragon.